When most people think of World War II, images of tanks, bombs and soldiers on distant battlefields come to mind. But you know, the war wasn't only fought in Europe and the Pacific. It was fought inside homes, in quiet streets and in cities shrouded by blackouts. Civilians faced threats just as deadly as air raids, opportunistic criminals who saw chaos as an invitation. What's fascinating is that some of the most effective survival techniques didn't come from military generals. They came from ordinary families who had to defend their homes with nothing but ingenuity and the materials at hand. Today, one particular method from those desperate years remains as relevant, reliable and simple as ever. A home defence system that alerts you instantly to intruders, costs next to nothing, and doesn't rely on technology that can fail. Before we dive into the details, make sure to hit the like button, share this video, comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to Warfront Survival for more historical fieldcraft and forgotten survival techniques. Acoustic warning systems. Wartime ingenuity in action. During the Blitz, when German bombs rained down on British cities, the government urged civilians to do more than just hide under tables. Looting and break-ins surged in blackout conditions, and families had to be ready for silent threats inside their homes. One of the most ingenious defences wasn't a gun, barricade or lock. It was a simple acoustic warning system. By using tensioned wires, household metal objects, and improvised noise traps, families could create a system that immediately alerted them the moment someone crossed a threshold. These weren't lethal traps. They weren't meant to harm an intruder. Instead, they relied on physics and human alertness. The slightest disturbance would send metal clattering, signalling an intrusion. In blackout conditions, when sight was unreliable, sound became an indispensable tool. If a burglar managed to bypass a lock quietly, they couldn't avoid touching a wire stretched across a doorway or window. A tin can, a loose washer, a metal tool or a bell could all amplify the movement into a loud, unmistakable noise. Families who implemented this method could wake instantly, react and protect themselves, all without modern alarms or electricity. Many wartime home defences became obsolete as technology advanced. Locks, barriers and even some early alarm systems were rendered unnecessary by improved infrastructure and policing. But, you know, the acoustic warning line survived because it was built on principles that technology simply cannot replace. Cameras can be jammed, smart devices disabled, and motion sensors fooled. Sound, on the other hand, cannot be bypassed if the intruder physically crosses the line. Farmers continued using it in barns, remote families relied on it in cabins, and even today, off-grid survivalists implement variations of the same system. During World War II, the most effective versions were set low, near knee height. This clever placement, you see, exploited the fact that intruders rarely watch their steps in the dark. The British Home Guard even circulated guides showing how to reinforce door frames so that wires would automatically tighten when doors were unlatched. When the wire moved, the noise it created was enough to alert the household, often scaring off intruders before they could advance. You don't need a historical setting or a blackout to benefit from this technique today. The principle remains. Create a mechanical alert that activates the moment a boundary is breached. A modern adaptation could be as simple as a tensioned fishing line attached to a lightweight metal object behind a door or window frame. When an intruder moves the line, the object tips and strikes another piece of metal, creating a sound impossible to ignore. Another approach is using a small canister filled with washers or ball bearings suspended behind a window. Opening the window triggers the canister, sending the bearings sliding with a distinct noise. For those seeking a stronger effect without endangering anyone, a door-mounted bar system works equally well. When the door moves, the bar rattles inside its brackets, producing a loud alert. These systems don't physically stop an intruder, but serve as sound amplifiers, giving homeowners a critical early warning. The concept is simple, inexpensive, and effective, just as it was for families facing the uncertainty of wartime nights. What made this acoustic system invaluable during World War II, and what keeps it relevant today, was redundancy. Civilians couldn't count on emergency services arriving quickly. Locks could be bypassed. Power could fail. But a wire stretched across a doorway would always react. It empowered vigilance, provided peace of mind, and required nothing but attention to maintain. Modern homeowners can apply the same principle to vulnerable points like back doors, basement entries, and garages. These are the spots intruders often target first because they are statistically weaker. You know, with just a single cord, a carefully chosen trigger point, and a sound source, you can, well, dramatically increase security. Museums, wilderness outposts, and off-grid lodges still rely on similar techniques. This really shows that reliability comes not from sophistication, but from fundamental physics. This forgotten World War II home defence system is honestly more than just a curiosity. It's a practical, actionable method that every history enthusiast and survivalist can, actually implement. It reminds us that some of the smartest wartime innovations didn't rely on weapons or high-tech gadgets. They relied on resourcefulness, an understanding of how people move through space, and, well, the power of simple mechanical principles. When applied today, it's not a reenactment of history. It's actually a continuation of a proven technique that, well, earned its place through necessity and real-world results. For anyone serious about home defense, historical knowledge, or practical survival techniques, this method really deserves attention. It's low cost, low maintenance, and nearly impossible for intruders to bypass without revealing themselves. More importantly, it connects us directly with the ingenuity of civilians who face threats under unimaginable circumstances, showing that, the smartest solutions often come from the most basic principles. If you found this guide useful, make sure to subscribe to Warfront Survival, share it with fellow history enthusiasts, and, well, comment below with your own experiences or ideas for practical home defense. Every like, share and subscription helps us keep uncovering forgotten innovations that shape survival in wartime, and continues to inspire smart, practical solutions today.